Hey guys, how you going? Hope you're all doing very well. This afternoon I'm going to be doing another movie review. This movie is a horror film from Romania. This is spoken in the English language, a little bit of Romanian language, but not enough to require subtitles. Released in the year 2015, directed by Anne Hathaway, and this film is called Be My Cat, A Film for Anne. So Be My Cat, A Film for Anne is about an aspiring filmmaker who's obsessed with Anne Hathaway and wants Anne Hathaway to star in his film. He says he has what it takes to make her an unforgettable name, and he makes a demonstration film that he's going to send to Anne Hathaway to really convince her. So he starts off by making a film called Be My Cat. It's about a man who lost his cat when he was young, a beloved cat, and he wants to resurrect that cat through murdering young women. And so this is a very morbid sort of idea for a film, but he believes it's going to be a revolutionary idea. So he hires the women that he's going to have in the film, but unfortunately as the movie progresses, the line between fantasy and reality becomes blurred and it passes a point of no return. So what that point is something you're going to have to find out for yourself, because that's as far as I'm going with my synopsis. Now my thoughts on Be My Cat, A Film for Anne. I'd known about this film for a very long time. It had been lingering around the festival circuits. A lot of people liked it. A lot of people gave this film a lot of accolades. And it's also the first Romanian found footage horror film. So that was a reason to go and see it, but it was very hard to come by. So when I finally got the chance to see it, my expectations were that it was going to be interesting. And after watching it, interesting is exactly what Be My Cat, A Film for Anne is. This is a found footage horror film, but it's not a generic found footage horror film. This is a very low budget horror film, but it's not a cheap looking film. It actually is a very intelligent movie that intensifies the sense of reality to really punch its message across to the viewer. And that message is a desensitization in today's world to violence. When you see it on camera, it's almost like it's not real. And this main character is going down a path of obsession. He's doing horrible things, but he's behind the camera. So if you're behind the camera, it's not quite reality. And this is the way that he condones what he's doing. And so he's completely unhinged. He's lost his mind. There was evidence in the past that suggests that he was bullied horribly when he was a kid. And so this is a victim of circumstance which creates a certain level of pity. You don't condone him. You are very fearful of what this guy is doing, but that certain level of pity that gives the film a stronger reason than existing just for the sake of shocking an audience. The overall feeling of this movie was very reminiscent to August Underground, but it was so much better than August Underground because it wasn't trying to shock the audience for just the sake of it. This is actually a movie that was showcasing violence in a very horrible way. This is a movie that will not make you feel good. It's a very, very dirty feeling that the film has, and that's intensified through the low budget. And this is a film that realises its limitations, and those limitations are shown in a way where everything is implied. There is no gore in this movie, but your imagination runs wild, and it's a lot scarier than something that you would actually see on screen. When you see a particular gore scene and you can see everything that's going on, that is set in stone. You can actually see it, but when you can't see it, God knows what is happening. And so I thought as though this movie was incredibly uncomfortable. It was a lot more uncomfortable than August Underground, and as I said, a lot better than that film. And the reason why I compare it to August Underground is that it has a very, very low budget feel. But Anne Hathaway demonstrates a lot more intelligence than that movie because it realises its limitations, and it's not a film that's just trying to smack you over the head with really gory moments and cheap tricks. This is a film that's trying to get into the mind of a very unhinged person that is very relevant in today's society. And so it's like you're being behind a camera. There are moments in this film where the character is actually saying, I'm in character, this is not me, Anne, I'm actually doing this, but this isn't a movie, but he's actually doing it in real life. And so it's that disconnection from reality because you're behind a camera, and as I said, it's that desensitization to violence that we see on the TV every day. So that's a very interesting topic that the film has that really produces a film that captivates your interest from start to finish. There were some moments that I had to look away. I was very, very uncomfortable watching it. The death scenes were incredibly realistic, so I thought as though this was a very, very nerve-wracking film. It's a very creepy film, and the main character, as I said, that unhinged quality, you never know what he's going to do. When he actually commits these horrible things, I thought to myself, well, this is hitting me on a different level because of the message that the movie is producing. So the acting was fairly decent. It keeps its level in realism. There's nothing extravagant. There are no explosions. It's all just a very realistic look into a very damaged mind who was a victim of his upbringing and his circumstances and the environment that he's facing himself in, and also the obsession, how far obsession can go before it starts to turn very dangerous. And so the overall film is very crisp in its runtime, and I thought as though it was a very, very impressive found footage horror film. It's a very different found footage horror film and a much more mature film than you'd get from other experiences and other films. If I have problems with the movie that prevent it from being absolutely fantastic, I thought as though some of the dialogue, although it was very interesting, there were moments that were a little bit repetitive, and so I thought the dialogue ran out of steam in some instances, and I was disconnecting myself in slight irritation. And I thought Anne Hathaway's performance as the main character Yes, he was very scary, very creepy, and there were some moments that were really, really working very well, but there were other moments where I thought he was overacting, and it kind of took me out of the experience a little bit because that sense of his acting instead of actually capturing a real person was present, and so that wasn't something I really liked. But pushing that aside, I still thought Be My Cat, A Film for Anne was a fantastic experience. I thought the ending of this movie was absolutely phenomenal. There's a dialogue between two people that I thought was on the edge of my seat. I wasn't quite sure how this was going to finish, and when it finishes, I just thought that was a perfect way to end it. So Adrien Tauffé is definitely a very self-aware director, and he uses everything very well in a low-budget horror film. If he has a bigger budget in the future, I'm really excited to see what this guy can produce, because he is a very good director and one to really look out for in the horror genre, and I'm definitely going to be checking out his other films. So if you like found footage horror films, definitely go out there and see it. This is a movie that does cast a shadow of its own in a very tight subgenre, and as a result of that, I'm going to give this film 3.5 stars. Alright guys, that's it for my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching movies, and I'll see you later.